Okay, so I'm in the camper today. I don't know if I'll stay in the camper, but I'm in the camper to start with. And I know, what a trash pit you got. Jeez, get something nicer. It was cheap, and we got it in an emergency. I've told you this before. Carolyn's son needed a place to stay, so we found a guy who had one. He brought it over for us. Paid just a tad bit more than what I wanted to pay, and it's a tad bit bigger than what I wanted. But this thing has turned out to be fantastic. It housed Carolyn's son. I'm going to have a family member come down and visit. He's going to stay here. We cook in here. It's good storage. All our food is in here. Canned goods. Storage. Yeah, I know it's trashy, but it's better than the house being trashy. I don't understand a lot of the comments. I just don't get them. I know people are going to say, oh, it's just a troll. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it can be, but I sure do have a lot of trolls. I've got more trolls than I have friendly people. So, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I like it. It's handy. And when this thing falls down, we can just tear it apart and get rid of it. It's pretty handy. It's so handy that we don't have to raise our chicks in the house anymore. As you know, in the past we would incubate. There's our incubator up there in the house, and then we would raise the chicks in there for weeks, and the tiny house is just too small to do it. So now we got the camper, and I knew this would happen. We put the chicks in the camper, keeps them warm, protected. Oh, that is disgusting. Why would you do that? You need to get a proper shed for your chicks. Okay, well then you got expense and cost. We don't use this room. Nobody's going to use this room. It's storage. Why not put the chicks underneath the bed like I showed you the other day? It's completely cleanable, easy to heat. So to, I don't know, give you, I know I showed you this the other day, but I'll just give you a rehash a little bit. We got the pet carrier in here, and there's a little heat plate right there. And the heat plate the temperature was a little cool today. Now I know why. The insulated cover came off. So the heat plate stands above it. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. And so the chicks go underneath in it and kind of radiates heat down to them. And it gets up to about 90, well, it got up to 97 degrees yesterday. And then overnight, it'll drop in temperature. And the lowest that we've seen it was 69. But when we came out, turned the light on, they were happy as a lark. I mean, they were absolutely just thrilled. The light was on, they'd come out and eat. And they're doing pretty good. Somebody mentioned they're different sizes. Yeah, they're different sizes. We suspect that, as you know, we got these from a farmer. And the Americanas, which are the dark, no, the Americanas are the light colored ones, Easter eggers. And the speckled Sussex are the dark colored ones. And they're a week younger than the light colored ones. So they would be about the same age as the two chickens that we hatched in our incubator that I talked about in a previous video. Now, we monitor the temperature in here. We have a remote covered in a bag, and that remote sends a signal to a monitor, you know, small little thermometer that you see up at the house. So this is working out really well. Easy to clean, easy to deal with. Carolyn and I come up here about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere around there, and we scoop them all into here and shut off the light. And you got to do it that way, because as long as the light is on, they don't go in there. So you got to shut the light off, and you kind of got to feel your way through it. So Carolyn stands here, and I grab them, give them to her. She puts them in there, holds them in, and we'll do it one at a time. They'll get used to it. They'll get trained to know that when we're here, they need to go to bed. Or when we shut off the light. Our concern is if we shut off the light and they don't know how to get back into it because they're blinded at night. At least that's my understanding. I don't know how true that is. So they'll sit out here alone and get cold. You know, when they're huddled up and underneath the heat plate, they're staying plenty warm. Let me make sure there's... I want to check to see if everybody's out of there. We got one in there. Want to make sure he's healthy. As you know, we lost two, and they got sick and died. So we want to keep an eye on everybody, make sure they're all healthy. Oh, there. That's how I can show you the heat plate. That's the heat plate right there. Yeah, he's walking around. He's fine. He's just wanting to stay warm. So I was reported to YouTube for inappropriate behavior or some, I don't know what it was. And the woman told me that she was going to report me. Well, I get reported hourly, every minute, every second of the day. Somebody's reporting me to YouTube. So, you know, I don't pay much attention to it when I'm reporting you. Well, good for you. I don't break the rules of YouTube. I try really hard to stay within the guidelines. When I was really new at it, I made some mistakes and did things that I shouldn't have done that I didn't realize was wrong. But I follow the instructions to the letter. I don't try to take risk. I stay within the topics that YouTube allow me to stay in. So I couldn't imagine what the inappropriate behavior was. Well, I found out. The inappropriate behavior is I'm not allowed to butcher chickens on YouTube. Well, first of all, that's not true. I can butcher chickens on YouTube. Well, I don't get paid for it because you can't have blood and, you know, all that stuff on video, and you got to mark it as graphic or something. I don't know, but I don't do it. I remember we had Frenchie. Frenchie was a rooster that we had, and we had him the same time we had Rue, and so we had two roosters at the same time, and they were both just getting so aggressive to the hens that we had to do something. We had to get rid of them. I mean, they were just, it was out of hand how aggressive they were getting. I was pretty sure they were going to end up killing one or more hens. It was terrible. The hens just didn't want anything to do with them. They were constantly running, and it was just, it was torture, and I couldn't stand it. So my thought was, hey, I told you about it. I'm going to butcher Frenchie and Rue. And this woman who used to follow us was a moderator and the whole deal. For some reason, she all of a sudden hated me. I don't know. And she got on Facebook and started complaining years ago. But when I said I was going to butcher Frenchie, she just went ballistic. How dare you have a pet and then tell everybody you're going to butcher him? You're insane. And she just went ballistic. And I'm like, this is what we do. We live off grid. We eat our farm animals. I was going to get pigs. I was going to put them right down here, kind of where that, maybe a little further down than that little sapling cedar tree that is there. I'm going to put them there. And we decided against it for a slew of reasons. But what are you supposed to do with the pig? Once you put the pig on YouTube, apparently you're not allowed to eat it. Pigs aren't pet. Well, I know some people have pigs as pet, but I don't want a pig as a pet. Heck, I don't want a chicken as a pet. I told you the other day that if it wasn't for the eggs or the meat, but I said eggs, I wouldn't do chickens anymore. I'm really burned out on them. And it's okay to be burned out. It's just a job now. It's just something that I have to do to survive. Just like any job, you go to work, it's mundane, and there's days I don't want to do it. But we do it. So it's a job. So the other day I said in a video that, well, two things actually. There are going to be roosters in that batch. My suspicions are there are going to be 5 roosters. What it is when they verify if it's a rooster or a hen, and they can do it two different ways. They can look at the reproductive organs, or they can look at the wings. Well, when they look at the wings, it's about 70% effective, so that you're going to get some roosters out of it. If you get a batch of chickens, you're going to get some roosters. So when you do the math out of 20, you're going to get about 5 roosters. So I said I was going to butcher them. Now the other thing is we may get too many hens. If we don't have enough roosters, let's say we only have 1 rooster out of that batch. I'm hoping to get 2. But let's say we get 1 rooster or no roosters, and they're all hens. Well, now we have too many hens. We only want about 13 chickens to replace the ones that we got, which is the other part of this that I was talking about. This fall, we're going to butcher our full-grown chickens. They're too old. They're going to start decreasing the amount of eggs they produce. So at some point, they're not even worth feeding anymore. You know, let's say they're supposed to produce 5 eggs a week and you're only getting 3. Well, why are you feeding them? So you bring in a new batch, you butcher the old batch, the old hens, and you eat the hen. That's what you do. This is what people have done since the beginning of time. But apparently, if you raise it, I truly don't understand the thinking. But apparently, if you raise it, you're not allowed to butcher it. And if I tell you, then I'm going to butcher it. It's an absolute mortal sin. Well, now I want to be specific here when I say this. I am talking to the people who think that I am a monster for butchering chickens. Everybody else can just watch for the entertainment value. Grow up! My gosh! How can you even survive in life if you don't realize that things that you find distasteful, uncomfortable, have to be done? Oh, I know, we're supposed to raise vegetables and we're not supposed to eat meat. Well, then why are you watching a guy who is on a carnivorous diet? That doesn't make sense. You're not going to get me shut down because I'm on a carnivorous diet. You're not going to get me shut down because I raise and butcher chickens. It's not against the rules. I don't butcher the chickens on camera, so it's not even that I'm distasteful and showing you something that you don't want to see, or for the shock value or anything else. These people in my channel are grown adults. Most of my audience is older than me. Look at me. I got gray hair and wrinkles and health issues just like everybody else my age. And the audience is older. So imagine that. Let's say 60s and 70s, which is true. I mean, I can look at my analytics. 99% of my audience is in their 60s and 70s, who have not learned that farmers butcher food. It's the way it works. Now, the woman who got all upset that I was going to butcher Frenchie, I know she was in her 50s. I don't understand it. Where do you think your meat comes from? Oh no, I'm a vegetarian. Well, if you're a vegetarian, like I said, go to a different channel. I don't want you here because we don't eat vegetables. Got a comment the other day and I thought it was ridiculous. How are you prepared for the locusts that are coming? You're going to be in the epicenter in Missouri. They're going to destroy your lives, is what I kind of got from the guy. No, the chickens are going to love eating locusts, man. They're going to have a feast. I don't eat corn. There's nothing that's going to destroy. I've got it all figured out, man. I don't understand the immaturity of people who are close to the end of their life. I'm not trying to be rude. I mean, I know that I'm coming up on the end of my life too. You know, when you're young, I understand the gullibility that you don't understand everything goes on in life. I get it. But eating food, butchering chickens, get this. Oh my goodness. Do you realize that every egg that we eat potentially could be fertilized? Oh, you're killing little chicks. I tell you, I just don't even understand it. Where has this country went to? It was in my lifetime that every grandparent and parent I knew was out butchering their chickens in the fall, or the rabbits, or the pigs. I remember I was probably 10, 13 years old, somewhere around there, and my grandparents had me shoot one of the pigs in the head. That's where we were at in my lifetime. But now we all grow up and Oh, you can't do that. Well, why? Did it scar you like Silence of the Lambs and Clarice having to watch her uncle kill those lambs? Grow up. It's not a movie. It's not, this is just real life. This is how it works. So, if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about the chickens. So, I hope I can inspire you to be the adult in the room when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.